you ready? Yeah. I can like multitask. This is how I realized I was a threat. And it's not so much it's levels to what you are a threat to. But again, authenticity cannot be threatened because it's integrity. If the energy is pure, if you're walking in integrity, and if you're walking in truth, no one can come and tell you your truth about who you are. If you've already accepted your truth, your shadow, everything is the opposite of that. Mm-hmm. You know, no one can come tell you how to be you better than you. So with that being said, this is like on all levels. Like when I'm in places like I'm training and working out and I'm around amongst people who, now listen to this perception or perspective. If people go to war and their programming is that they're protecting their country, but me meeting people who know that, you know, I met someone who was in there and then having a talk with them, you know, a guy I met in New Orleans in an Airbnb, and him telling me like, hey, yo, we used to go out there with AKs and stuff and see innocent families and they would run back into their homes. The family looked at, see, I'm gonna show you on both sides of polarity. The family looked at them as a threat, but they're the people with guns are no threat to, the people with guns are more of a threat to the people without them. So the people without them, he said, man, I saw the mothers and the family run back in the house and then it hit him. He was like, yo, we were more of a threat with guns than anything. So it hit me with the clarity of what war are you fighting? And this is more than color and creed. Melanated people, or if you look at the demographics, and it was hitting me there because again, for people that don't know, I've been around people who talk about the military and you're seeing it, you know, just the actuality of things, their skin color. And when you see who initiates or what people have been in war with and who's been behind certain things, there is an image that naturally when you think of war, you think of what? A man that have lighter skin or a Caucasian man. Okay, when you look at the levels of the governmental aspect of this, who's been enabling that? So when you look at that, then who war have we been fighting? So in a spiritual sense, it's like an invisible war, spiritual warfare. In a physical sense, when people don't have awareness of self, this is the levels that where you seeing this shit literally break down. If you don't have police to lock up people that are darker, because mostly people who are incarcerated are darker people. Mm-hmm. Then it hit me when I was pushing the sled working out. I said, what if the tables would turn? Who would be more dominant in a society if mostly people that are lighter were in prison? That makes a lot of sense. Okay, how did you get your power? You held others captive in the prison. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how do you dethrone yourself? You destroy yourself from the inside out, not the outside in. The only reason you see me or people that are darker as a threat is because I'm in there like, why is it justifiable for my anger after what I've seen with men who look like me and women go through? Because that's what you're afraid of, is that, again, I told you about how the divine retribution or the what people really fear is a man that looks like me. And these are there's a threat all the way around. Now watch how I break this down. There's a threat when it comes to my anger, my frustration. How dare you be angry? So when you look at certain athletes, when you look at rappers, they're more of a threat to the youth than I'm a threat to the youth. Because I'm not a threat to the youth. I'm empowering them. Because when I empower them to unify and to love themselves and face their shadows and fears, guess what that does? Then you don't have police coming after people. Then you don't have crime. Then you don't have the ambulance. See how it systematically breaks down? You don't have all these things. Then you don't have certain systems in place where people have to depend on it because it's more focused on what their emotional attachment is to it rather than being self-sufficient. See, when you teach the youth to love themselves and honor themselves, then they see the source or the God or the power within. But where have we been prone to, what have we all have been given our power to? Someone else rather than ourselves. There is no leaders, celebrities, anyone in status out here encouraging these youth to really look within themselves. And see, that's the illusion that they're giving off. They're all either talking about, well, this relationship thing, this man and woman, and overlooking the whole bigger picture of the inner child in all of us. So no matter how they dress it up, no matter how much money they have, all of them are falling from grace. And the reason I say that is this. In a world that is mostly driven off, again, why have people have been at war, countries and so forth in division? Because the people are at war with themselves. Who's mostly been at war with themselves? If you look at the demographics, the people that are in the hood, they're only at war with themselves. They're not angry with other people. They're angry with themselves, either because of their demographics or because of every time they're trying to get out of something, then they got to go to someone that don't look like them. Then even if they go to someone that's in a position that does look like them, they're frowned upon. So I'm a threat because how dare you encourage the youth to love themselves? How dare you not be a basketball player? How dare you not be a football player? How dare you not go out here and encourage the youth to hurt and harm themselves and do pills and do drugs? How dare you not do that? So in a spiritual sense, that's the thing about generational curse breaking. And it's bigger than color, but I also got to break it down in levels. The divine was like, you know how important it is for you, meaning me, to not do what other men have done in my family? Because I always tell everybody, your generational curse breaking is different than everyone, just like yours. The divine was like, not only did I want you to co-create and be in alignment with a woman that don't look like you, it's because you're here to break the generational curse and stigma or stereotype of this illusion of interracial or hating that person when you don't even know nothing about them to the depths. And then breaking that chain of the self-hatred, which is driven for racism to even exist. Or you have to have a self-hatred of self to not even accept someone for what they look like. So the mom was like, I wanted you to meet this person so you see the bigger picture of co-creating that. So you teach your son that someday you might have to interact with women or men that are darker than you and they don't like you just because of your mother is this color and just because of your father is this color. Mm-hmm. But you walk in integrity, you still love yourself and still have compassion and grace for their ignorance. Mm-hmm. So the other clarity I was getting is like, when it comes to, I'm not categorizing. It's not about categorizing. It's the oneness of it. I'm speaking from my experience. When it comes to certain men, and I'm gonna use the term whether Caucasian because that's what's predominantly popular in America. It's what they talk about. It's not relatable. And then you can feel the energy when they don't have nothing to relate to you with, or they choose to allow their pride to keep them from relating with you. Because if it ain't about money, if it ain't about their status, if it ain't about their ego, and that's what I realize a lot of men are driven off of when they don't know what it is to be in tune with themselves. So they have this superiority that they think is God complex over women when they don't realize everything that they learn from the depths, emotionally, mentally, their emotional resonance and how they became to be. Their blueprint of who they are begin from femininity. The energy of feminine and masculine begin from a woman. And yet here they are, due to whatever their wounding is. This is why I cannot relate. Because they would never know what a divine masculine is. I can recognize a wounded masculine. Because most of these men are wounded masculine, and they're wounded, and they also have been wounded by them being a wounded masculine, they are wounded in the feminine aspect. Meaning that they probably did not get loved or embraced by their mother, no matter their culture. But predominantly what I've seen in society, how a lot of these men and what I've seen, and it's not all, but what I've seen was driven by society is that why is it that you don't know nothing about the backstory of a lot of these celebrities? Why is it that you don't know the backstory of a lot of these people who was so pushed in our face? Because the truth is like they all bleed, they all breathe, they all got to leave this world. So why is it so much emphasis on we gotta, oh my God, is this person, is this, and deep down people that know, just like I'm from, demographics, we don't really give a fuck about them. We don't really care. Because what are they doing for the community? What are they really doing? Other than, yeah, you getting all this money, you're accumulating all this stuff, and you're teaching our youth to do the same thing, but you're teaching them to accumulate something that they can't take when they leave this world, rather than accumulate knowledge and wisdom, and to love themselves, and to honor who they are, no matter what that, who are you before you accumulate this? I don't know who you are before you got to that. I only know what the media and somebody else. So it's wild to me how we protect, going back to, this goes to perspectives. How someone, and this is perspective, how you're going to tell me, how could I not see a person that signs up to go into what you call the service or protecting their country? How are they no different than being a murderer than someone else on the street doing the same thing? When you're killing innocent people, but you dress up to say you're protecting a country. Protecting us from what? When it's already, everyone know the illusion is shattered. And even with the money, the monetary thing, what are you protecting us from? Because now there's an equal playing field. It's always, I tell people, our ancestors, indigenous people, always knew it's been about resources. Whoever controls the resources when it comes to certain things, and then how people, consumers, how people get things and how they are supplied. This is where you see these big nations such as China. All these things are happening, whether y'all want to accept this or not. Karma is being dished out. Things are being balanced because people have tried to play God or play the creator or the Most High. Who are y'all as so-called leaders, false leaders, or anybody to tell people how much they should get, how much they should be paid, how much anything, and then to slave over or to even be mentally enslaved to believe that this is all that there is when this in this life? And that's utterly bullshit. And no one's going to call it out, but I would be who I am. And see, this is why people don't know what it is to be on the front line, because of all ancestors didn't know what it was to be on the front line. Okay, let me break that terminology down. To be on the front line is to not be afraid of speaking the truth, walking in it, leading it, and allowing others to follow that lead to become leaders themselves. And there's no fear in that, because they knew that there was no fear. It's what was being, the propaganda and what was being projected. I'd rather walk in integrity and authenticity and spread a message of that, rather than see these so-called, whether it's, I don't care, from artists or women and men. This is why it's all crumbling. And people want to sit here and pretend, and this is what the awakening is all about. And the reason I speak about the levels of even things systematically, because it happens all the way from the micro to the macro, from the family, and then so forth, the levels. You got to see what's happening internally in your home. And that's where the focus has not been, is that we've been driven so more focused on other people rather than being driven by our own intuition. We've been driven more off ego than rather than our own intuition and our own truth. And so, okay, baby. And so I'm proud of you. That's amazing. And so that's the thing where you have to realize you are a threat. You're naturally a threat. And that's what I had to accept and realize, like, I see why I'm a threat to, you're not just a threat to society, you're a threat to your lineage in a spiritual sense. When you're a threat to your in a spiritual sense, that means every ancestor that crossed over, or every ancestor did not want to see your lineage progress. So you are a threat to progression. You are a threat to abundance, to receiving prosperity and peace within your lineage, within your tribe that you create. And then not only that, you are a threat to what is being perceived as normal, which is really dysfunctional. You are a threat to what is been prone and what's been given to the youth of what's being normalized as functional. This is what it's always been about, no matter your color or creed. Some of you are going to date people or align with people, whether it's I'm going to speak on the spiritual sense of like your soul tribe or people that know you from the depths. It's to where you're not, as you elevate and evolve, you're going to be relatable to people that are in depth, that are empathetic, that are more in alignment with the Aquarian age, which we already in or giving birth to and planting seeds to. The opposite of the humanitarian is what? Greed. Being self-righteous, being envious and jealous. All those things are being brought up within us internally for us to return to that, to see the oneness in all of this. And this is why you're a threat. This is why I had to realize, like, wow, I do pose a threat to certain things just because I stand in integrity, just because I am honest. Okay, so why would this so-called celebrity, people, or whomever with certain status want to help me when they are a part of the programming of keeping the old narrative, the old world of the greed, of the self-righteousness, of, when you look at the Aquarian age, the opposite of Aquarian age was the Leo. Leo is more, to some, is perceived as like, it's ruled by the heart, but everyone's not living in the heart. But it's ruled by, this complex of like self-centered and all, things happening all around them and they're being the center of attention. Again, like the center stage, but being in the Aquarian age is more so focused on the oneness of all of this. So no matter where you are, everyone is going through some type of awakening. And some of you probably are in position, no matter your career, no matter your status and so forth. Wherever you are, your awakening, your journey, your healing journey, whatever it is, can come wherever you are. People even get awakenings in prison systems. People get awakenings in wherever they are. That's why I always like the movie Soul was a perfect example of that. The movie Soul showed that some people are here and they come along and, some may speak about reincarnation. Some may speak about how the fact of, certain things where they come into this awareness, like a deeper awareness of self. And then when you come into a deeper awareness of self, you realize like everything around you is not relatable. And that's the thing that a lot of people going through that transition. Even things that another video I'm going to speak about, but I can go into depths about it a little bit, is that on this healing journey, even when it comes to that, different layers of you and different versions of you will be exposed. You will be exposed to certain aspects of not just who you are in your tribe, but who you are as you grow, as you become more self-aware of what it is you're here to do and your purpose. Everyone is not ready to accept that role. And the clarity I was getting as I was departing from the gym had a lot to do with, like, it can feel very lonesome, but at the same moment, it can feel, I had to come to the self-awareness that I had to become my own man. And in becoming your own man as men and young men is not being like everyone else. And becoming your own woman is breaking generational chains and cycles and wanting to be a better woman. It's not that you're better than people. You're much better than you were the day before. You're much better. You're more disciplined. You're more sharpened. You're more, knowing thyself is to show thyself approved. It's not to prove to anyone else. It's you in this. It's you that's showing up and be like, you know what? Today, yeah, I maybe went through this, but at the same moment, I have a better and deeper awareness of why I don't need to move like this, or, the discipline in that. And as I evolve, accepting that role of like, hey, wow, I see why I didn't need to be around this. There's no judgment to them. There's no judgment. It's just accepting that, accepting my own judgment against myself. Judging my own heart, letting the Most High judge my own heart before I judge someone else for their circumstances, before I assume that this person is better and so forth. No, it's choosing, just like me as a father, to be a better, not just man, but to be better for my own inner child. To be better so that I can be a bridge for sons and daughters, and not just my own biological, kid or kids eventually, but also the kids when I go out there. Can I still have integrity, by even telling a child, yeah, you know what, man? My past wasn't the prettiest, But I got through things because I decided to be more disciplined and better. And I was telling my partner, I said, it's the beauty of, as a man, realizing like, yo, let me reflect on what I went through and seeing. This is the awareness. Y'all have to sit down and see the men and women in their action and observe. That's the awareness. Observe and breathe and see where the women and men are. And are they progressing? Are they choosing to evolve? No matter if it's your mother or father. And then you start to realize like, oh, you know what? Today I can change something. Today I can do something differently. And with that, you're going to realize what's not relatable anymore. Whether it's people, whether it's places, whatever it is, you're going to come to that self-awareness like, you know what? I maybe don't want to go out here and work for somebody. Let me see and learn through this entrepreneur. Let me learn about this. Let me go through this and see the growth. Or let me experience this with a light heart. Or let me go out here and, and choose to mentor, do a nonprofit. Let me go out here and do something different. And when you do that, it has an automatic ripple effect on everyone. Meaning, as soon as you change and do something for yourself and be something for yourself, it is naturally going to bring up something in other people, whether trigger them, whether it even brings up things, their insecurities, their jealousies, and so forth. And also in a spiritual sense, there are forces that are at play that you don't see. For we do not, don't quote the word like that, but for we do not fight with flesh and blood or, but physical, spiritual wickedness in high and low places like principalities and so forth. And, it's people that even know this. And then there's also people who can see you with a spiritual eye who always been knowing this. And this is your clarity. This is your confirmation for you. Because see, source or God, the creator, the most high operates through everything, through people, through kids, through everything. That's the deeper awareness that source is not just within. The resource of source is also outwardly. So it's inward and outwardly. And I'm going to give you an example of myself. I was telling my partner, I said, when I look at the men, it's no judgment to them because they can only play out the cards that they were dealt. Some of us as men we saw dope boys or so-called things is, man, these dudes they got the rims, they got all this. Yeah, boy, whoa. They can get every girl that they want. Okay, as a little kid, you looking at this like being in the candy store. Like, oh my gosh, like, wow, I could get that too. Rah, rah, rah. You naturally looking up to them, especially if you don't have a father figure there or a healthy man who is displaying some type of structure, discipline, emotional integrity, emotional intelligence, some type of spiritual discipline. A lot of us, even myself, I did not have that. So in the actuality, see, the fantasy is like, oh yeah, I can be the next da 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 da. That's the fantasy world. That's the old world. But when you talk about actuality, the cards that I've been dealt, and then realizing, taking accountability, like, you know what? I see why my life has played out like this. Because I chose, there's no judgment against none of them. In the old world, you had the world praising the girls who would give it up fast. Now, what about them now that got some type of HIV or STD or something like that? What about that? We ain't praising that now. Huh. Oh, we weren't praising the dudes when I know people personally who went to jail for 10 years or more when they were selling dope. Then I went deeper. I'm like, how did the drugs get here? Okay, who did they work with for it to get here? Who grows the drugs? Thinking outside of the box. Then not only that, people don't know how much spiritually that you're protected by that. I realized I was divinely protected by and had to be so aware, like, well, God, well, creator, why didn't you want me to walk this path? Why can't I just be, this big time drug dealer or, this big time basketball player, football player, or whatever it is? Why is my path the way it is? And sometimes we do question the creator and the most high. We do question God. But the thing is, we've been looking so more outside for it rather than realizing where did that voice come from inside? Where does your heart beat inside? Where does your intuition come from inside? Where is that spirit of discernment inside of you? What did your mother give birth to you? You were created inside of her womb. Your daddy had to meet her. All these things come from within. So we're reconnecting to that. So coming back to this is that when I look at, again, spiritually, what was put in my life and what I've been also battling, in the spiritual warfare in, in the womb of my mother, I had to accept that as a man representing the patriarchal, that I was here to do it differently. And then that's even people like, how dare you not do the same thing? How dare you not be like us? There's even some young men or even men that's like threatened because of the fact, and they don't even know why. Sometimes they don't know why, because they don't even know that they inherited certain things from their mother and father, emotional things, spiritual things, physically things, and then they're battling with their own warfare that they don't even know nothing about. And so naturally they're going to think, well, he better. Just because he made it out, da-da-da-da-da. And, you'll have people against that. And you know how much integrity, how much courage it takes to still walk this path, to walk a path that, a path that it's unknown or unbeknownst to people, or walk a path least traveled. That's why I encourage people like to walk a path where you got to have integrity to live out on the street when your family turns against you, when they don't want to encourage you towards your natural gifts, your natural innate gifts, your spiritual gifts, to turn away from you. Then the Most High say, forgive them, accept them, give them grace. Not just to your family, to the governmental system, to the people in certain places who know they purposely, to the society, to the things that are hidden that y'all don't know about. Don't help them. Don't do this. And you know how much faith you got to have to lean into your intuition that the Most High will place on someone's heart to where, give them this. You got to be the one that'll come in. And that's the thing about how certain people go through an awakening and there'll be a line to come on your path. And just when you think that the storm won't end, the light shines and the rainbow, you're at the end of the tunnel. I've been there. And I'm still walking through it, because I had to learn that in that tunnel, it was dark. They said at the end of the tunnel is dark. At the end of the tunnel, there's light. But what about the light within you? And that's the thing I had to accept and realize. It's like, no matter kids, no matter family, no matter so forth, I saw the importance of how I had to realize who came before me. I also had to take in consideration that what representation that I have of men, and accept like I'm much more than that. I have to be a better, representation of that, a healthier version, to even choose to heal, to even choose to face your fears, not just your fears, the fears of what you ancestrally inherited, what your mother went through, the fear of even being away from karmic family, the fear of even walking away and choosing your purpose, the fear of even being with yourself in solitude, the fears of being an entrepreneur, the fears of even some of you mothers walking away from certain relationships that no longer serve you, and you choosing to love yourself and be with your kids. Some of you, I don't even like to say single mothers. No, it's you choosing yourself and being healthy for you and your kids. Same for men. It's you choosing to walk away. Yes, you can have kids by someone, but at the same time, you're choosing to be, even though certain people will never get and understand and comprehend, you're choosing to walk away to get that therapy, to get that assistance, to be more to gain more of a security within yourself, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, because no one will know the depths of that. Like I said, there is things that are not relatable when I hear certain men, whether they're, in certain status and certain things. It's like, I cannot relate to it, because my calling is not that. My purpose is not that. I'm here, and such as a lot of you are here to show, or just simply by being who you are, and not proving, just being who you are and going through the lessons and going through the evolution, being something that the world has never laid eyes upon. And I don't just mean physically, because people are caught up in, oh, he's just another black, or he's just another colored, or, or he's just another, hearing it from your own, he doing the same thing as somebody. No, the multifaceted aspect, the multidimensional aspect, people seeing the different layers you had to go through of yourself internally. There's also layers of you displayed to the world. Some may say, oh, they can call it two-faced, but no, it's called boundaries. It's called loving myself. It's called honoring who I am. It's called that, okay, I don't have to do what you did. I don't have to approach life that way. It's either the heal version, or as you heal certain layers, that scar is there, but at the same moment, the depths of that wound. You know what it took more than anyone else. So you as young men, you as women, and certain, young women and men, it is a lot of you, it has been placed in your heart. It has been placed in your DNA for you to be something that is nothing like your mother and father, and or those who in your matriarchal or patriarchal. Know that what you're doing is much more bigger than just you. You have a ripple effect and have an impact and have a purpose that far more, it exceeds the status of just because this person has this money, or just because this is who they are. They're fading. Trust, they're fading because their programming was a part of the wounded masculine and wounded feminine, or wounded matriarchal and wounded masculine. Patriarchal. And what I mean by wounded patriarchal, that means the wounded men, the wounded grandfather that sat back and did those things to grandma and so forth, and never chose to heal his internal world, his femininity, to why he felt that way towards women. That wounded grandfather who went to war and he put his dreams aside or certain things aside to try to, basically put his own purpose aside to try to protect and provide for the family. And some people would justify that. But at the same moment, it's the fact of how he put his needs and his well-being aside for that person. And people will actually justify and say that that's okay, and it's not. Because I'm not here to instill that and plant seeds in young men. Everyone has a fucking purpose here. Everyone has a divine right and a birthright to be who they are. And nothing, no government, no society, no nothing can ever exceed that or tell you more than what has been placed in you before you arrived here, from your meeting your father, meeting your mother, them coming together as one, and then you growing in your mother's womb and you coming here. You are already experiencing spiritual warfare in the womb, because you don't know what your grandfather and grandmother went through for your mother to be born, or your father. You don't know what the traumas they went through that they kept disclosed, that they repressed so much emotion, that you have these men that have these great grandfathers and that went off to this war and shit, had PTSD or had this mental illness, had psychosis, or had a lot of this stuff that they never talk about. And then you see some of them returning to a country or to places where they're put out into the street where people don't care about them and so forth. They're only given a check to cover up the fact of something that they don't even get therapy or natural support from. Come on, let's talk about it. And then the women that had to sit there, and when the father puts his dreams and purpose aside, it leaves her with the baggage of taking care of kids, trying to put her well-being and everything else before herself, put her kids' well-being before herself. You don't see the programming? This is programming. We are healing in reverse. That's why we're unlearning this shit. This is why some of us are a threat to that. In the same way the energy has been pushed out and directed when it comes to how this country and countries and so forth that have put these things together, it will also play out the same way. It's energetically, it's balancing. This is why you see so much emphasis on them trying to, desperately push the narrative of certain characters, certain statuses, certain people, when they know that it is done. Their reign is done. Their reign of terror, their reign of woundedness, their reign of people of other cultures being against each other for no fucking reason, because of their own internal battle, because of some type of program that they have. No, it is written in the stars, in the ethers, in the cosmos, as above, so below, as within, so without. Meaning that as it is in heaven, shall be on earth. And as within, meaning internally, your hearts, whatever war you war with inside, shall also be judged, shall also be a clearing. It says that heaven dwells within paradise. A lot of you don't have a paradise or heaven within. You haven't found peace within, because some of you are here to bring peace back to your lineage, paradise back to your lineage, harmony back to your lineage. You're returning that by facing generational curses, by facing generational traumas, by repressed emotions, repressed memories, things from your great-great-grandma, great-great-grandfather, and so forth, that had to endure so much, that had to experience an unaliving of certain things where they had to sacrifice. And how do you do that? The energy has to play out. The shit is playing out through us. And some of us are here, not all of us, some of us are here to align with that which is more harmonious and peaceful, so that our kids, we are a bridge for peace and harmony and abundance and prosperity on all levels, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically, because it starts there internally first. The world has given you the opposite of that. And when you look at negative and positive, again, they have given you the just this illusion of external rather than the internal. If you're negative and positive like a battery, it's not balanced. How could that battery operate? And when we come, this is what's returning: divine knowledge and wisdom, insight, intelligence that has always been here. Women, a lot of you, again, y'all have been so focused on this, the positive, which represents the masculine, rather than neglecting your negative part, which is, again, it's not just what you think is negative. It's more so, it's like an electrical, what is it? I'm gonna just use, what is it? Electron, neutron. But I'm giving you the scientific aspect of masculine and femininity. You also represent the patriarchal. Because who came before you? Your father, whether he was there or not, it still played a ripple effect on how you're going to show up. Women, I had to tell my part of this. You naturally develop your identity, because masculine is more external. You develop your identity whether through your father or from the men around you on how it is you are going to treat men. Same thing again, and however that is, whether healthy, unevolved, or whether wounded or healthy. Unevolved meaning, or evolved. Evolved meaning healthy, seeing a more heightened awareness around it, or unevolved meaning, you're unaware, or, you're not evolved into the fact of seeing like how much your mother played a part in whatever it is, whether keeping you away or how she was treated by men. It's paying attention to the cycles and the patterns. And some of us, we don't even know that we inherit this shit. We have inherited this. The pains, the traumas from our mothers in the womb, and we can no longer neglect it. That's what's coming up. Your mother repressed so much. She repressed the emotions. That's what I was getting to. Like a lot of us, as you heal, your repressed emotions will come up as you gradually. Healing is a lifelong journey. Your repressed memories will come up from your childhood, from what you dealt with. I knew someone, we're not going to call no names, that had dealt with some type of sexual trauma, and she will have visions or dreams about this man coming to her. Because that's how deep the body keeps a score. Get that book. I still got it. Let me see. Like I said, I'm just sharing certain things. The body keeps the score. It's important. The body keeps the score. And it just talks about, again, brain, mind, and body in the healing of trauma. And it just talks about psychologically, the brain, the mind, certain things. Even when we think we have pushed stuff away, it is the awareness that you haven't. You just pushed it down in the body. then it's not just the physical. You're talking about the spiritual, the mental, and emotional aspect of the body. This is things that are of a higher awareness that we're coming more into depth of, because it's the returning of this wisdom and knowledge. Again, the old world, you had people that kept things away, but now the light is here. The light shines light. The light is here. It's a balance. They're equal. So again, this is what's being brought, because again, men as well, you too. Your representation of what you dealt with, and that's how I'm able to recognize and not be able to relate to certain. I can relate more to certain men that I can see their woundedness, even in what they portray. So masculine. I don't give a fuck if they was 10 feet tall. 10 feet tall, 500 pounds. Bro, you still have an inner child. I don't care about their people's status and celebrity. None of that. You still have went through something. And a lot of you are in status. And what's driving that driving force is ego. It's more external, because that's what the old world narrative was about. Narcissism, ego, self-righteousness, and so forth. That's the opposite of the Aquarian age, which is the Leo. And that, again, Leo rules the heart. But again, the wounded heart. And that's why a lot of people's hearts are blocked. Their heart space is blocked. This is what the ancient talked about. The ancestors. It's the heart space. A lot of people's heart space is blocked. And reason being is because so much trauma or so many things ancestrally, whether mother matriarchally, father patriarchally, have went through, they never got to express it. They never felt safe to express it. Their emotional body, their emotional aspect. They never got a place to express it. They never grew up in homes that were safe and secure, where it was important to express it. A lot of us were beat on by the women who say they loved us, and or men, because of their own hardening of their heart, because their own, things internally, because of their own traumas. A lot of mothers do things purposely, whether they smother their sons or hurt their sons intentionally. Sometimes they don't even know it, or they feel like it's protecting them. They do it simply a lot unconsciously because this is their programming, or because sometimes it's deeper to where they're blaming the little boy because of what? Because they can't keep a man. Because they're not secure within themselves. Because they're wounded masculinity. Same thing with men. I even had to learn that. Why can I sustain or keep something secure in the past? It's because I knew that I had to become aware I was wounded. I never saw a healthy dynamic. A lot of us never saw healthy dynamic. You've been in a world where there has been nothing that has been pushed emotionally healthy, spiritually healthy, mentally healthy, physically healthy. You've been given the illusion, and a lot of this is from people you don't know nothing about. And it doesn't even matter, because they can give you celebrity, they can give you all these people, and most of them they're just big ass distractions. And you don't know nothing. And a lot of what they push is so toxic, so dysfunctional. There's nothing healthy about it. And you know nothing to the depths of what it took for them to get there. You don't know what spiritual vices or nothing spiritual, that warfare that they're going through, their karma. Because when you go to the root of the tree, in your home and how you grew up matters, because your inner child is like, yeah, I see this. Yeah, you see this, but your inner child, like, deep down, I ain't never had that. I ain't never really seen nothing healthy like that. So you gonna what? Keep portraying to the world like, yeah, I'm this and you that. No, you're not. Until you be honest with you, and you will never create a foundation upon honesty, because that shit is uncomfortable. That's why I see with a lot of men and women, it's so uncomfortable for them to accept the truth about themselves, because they got to face the pain, the repressed memory, the repressed emotions that come up with that from their childhood. Not everybody, but most of the people, they don't want to accept those memories, because guess what? You'll be called crazy. Talking to your mom about what you dealt with. You hurt, this hurt, this hurt. Oh, you crazy, put it in the past. Yeah, we dealt with those people, put it in the past, let it go. Let what go? How do you heal if you're not aware of the wound? And there's a huge wound in America and all these other countries in the world, in this realm. There's a huge wound, and it can no longer be overlooked. And some of us are here as healers, spiritualists, those who operate with the dark, to be able to acknowledge the light hand in hand, just like yin and yang. People are here to acknowledge and to see that. and to bring forth a higher awareness individually and collectively. It's just what it is. And it's nothing motherfuckers can do. I just say bravo. You gotta let everything that's going out right now, every character that's playing out, I don't care, from your communities and so forth, and all the way up to the highest of highest, governments, so forth, and higher. There's something greater upon us. And only those that are in alignment that gets these downloads, uploads, whatever you want to care, this clarity, have been anointed and selected to get this. Because you are going to be very aware. You're going to see this is the thing I'm gonna leave y'all with. In the Aquarian age, age of the golden age of information, there also will be deception. There is a polarity. That's why everybody cannot go where you're going. A lot of us are here to create a new narrative, a new timeline, a new awareness around how it is we want to live and be and experience life. Everyone is not at that level. That's the deep acceptance. Everyone cannot go. Everyone, you know what I'm saying? Exodus. That's what it is. That's what it's about. And it is what it is. So I'm just leave y'all with that. Take care of you. Be you for you. Peace and blessings. Shalom.